Welcome to my podcast, Actual Leigh. This is the continuation of last week's conversation. Let's dive right back in.
You're kind of speaking words to someone that doesn't quite speak that language. But I like what you're saying. I like what you're saying. Um, yeah, I really like what you're saying. Okay, so here something you said that I need to work on is taking a purposeful break. Right now, because I'm not working on this project, I feel guilty and I beat myself up a little bit because I'm not working on it. Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to take a week off to recharge and get through some stuff, I'm constant. So I like your attitude in the purposeful break, and I think that's because I've spent a lot of time in corporate America, and like on a phone call, oh my God, I still have my 3 minute phone call time frame from every customer service job. You're on the phone 4 minutes? I got somebody in Atlanta calling me, telling me I got one of my reps on the line for 4 minutes. You are stealing from the company. Hang up. I've had those conversations. Um,
Wow.
so to be in that kind of level of forced productivity and then for the world to say, well, you're really good at this artistic stuff, and by the way, these don't mesh, but figure it out anyway, and then produce a reproducible product on a consistent basis. And you're like,
Yeah. So when I started having health issues, that work ethic thing, that lifetime of routine and that push that I always have to be working and I always have to be productive and I have to do stuff. It it was really hard to adjust into a life of not doing stuff. And I had to remind myself that taking a break, resting, pacing, self care is work. Those are all doing things. Just like eating is important and sleeping is important and shitting is important. All of those things, right? It's like they're all equally as valid, even though we have been brainwashed to believe that the only thing that ultimately matters is how we help the economy, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah, you're right.
nuts. But I even now with all the things that I do, I still get sucked into it and I have to like force myself to sort of, one of the things I've been trying to do is create a routine because I get pain if I do the same thing too much. Like I'll get injured and get tendonitis and stuff. So I have like a schedule, like um I do like video game streaming a couple times a week, but I space it out. And then the other days are to work on art or my website or whatever. But those ones I don't tell myself what I'm going to do in advance because I don't know what I'm going to feel like doing. And my ADHD doesn't like doing certain things. And so I have to play games, right? Like, oh, I'm gonna put some stuff on my website. But you know what I really need to do? I need to do laundry. God, I don't really want to do laundry. I'm gonna put stuff on my website. Like, so so I do that a lot. And then
Right.
and then I haven't been so the last almost year I've been really sick, so I haven't been able to do art stuff as much, which is frustrating. And when I have to be so careful with my energy, so when I do feel like doing it, it's like precious right now. But when I get back to where I was before last year, then it's gonna be crazy again because it's like every day is just like, what chaos am I going to do? I'm going to do resin, I'm going to do painting, I'm going to do, but it's like this constant. And I think it sounds like what you're saying is that you're you're still kind of stuck in that work mode. And what I've been learning about myself in terms of like the fact that there's an ebb and flow, that there's like a chemistry thing that happens in our body, the dopamine and all that, like those things have to align the right way to be in the right gear for creativity. It sounds like you're still learning that, to
Yeah,
let
yeah, I
go of
don't.
that work thing. And
It is because if you've ever listened to somebody that like owns their own business, and I know that you own your own business, but let's say a
I'm
Fortune
not good at it.
500. Hey, I wasn't going to bring that up. I was just saying, if you've ever, well, let me tell you, I was not bringing that up at all. I once had dinner with a fella. A friend of mine was going out to dinner, see some old friends. They invited me along. So we're sitting there, and when the check comes, the guy grabs it and he says, "No, no, no, I got it." And he looks at the table and he says, "Have you ever thought about your heating and cooling?" And I said, "Yes." He goes, "All right, very good. Now this is a business dinner." And he just wrote it down. And
Yeah,
I was like,
I used to do bookkeeping
well done.
for companies and entrepreneurs that are blah, blah, and I would tell them to do that.
But see, that's a mindset. And
Yeah.
I, as a worker bee, I was never given queen bee mindset. All the
Hmm.
queen bee does is just like, this is good food. Oh my goodness, my belly is full. Let me push out the next brood. This is good food. The queen bee has the mentality that everything she does is justified, while
Hmm.
the worker bee constantly has to mash themselves up against this ideal that they'll never reach, that they will always chase.
Yeah.
And yes, I am still in that worker bee mentality without having the foresight and the wisdom to say, oh, maybe this is a business lunch,
Yeah.
maybe I'm having fun. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had to have my life catastrophically fall apart because my body went, this is bullshit, for me to start learning this you know, this this lesson that the experience of a thing is enough,
Okay.
you know?
Okay.
So like when I do art because of how it feels to do the art, not because I'm thinking I'm going to sell the art. I don't the fact that people have bought my art is, like it's amazing. It's literally not, I've never made something and been like, gosh, I hope somebody buys this. I literally make this and I'm like, did I throw up on this? Like, it's just, and like I like every single, like even the jewelry and stuff, I do hope that people are gonna buy it. But when I'm in the thralls of making it, I am just so hyper fixated on seeing if I can make my idea happen, right?
Okay.
So I'm in the joy of creating and feeding that curiosity and proving to myself that I can do it. And then when it's done, I'm like, I don't even know if people will like this. I don't know anything about jewelry. I don't know anything about style. I could give a shit. I just like making it, right? So
Right.
so that's been my like my kind of my focus is like learning how to just be present for the experience and the joy of it. And then
Right.
like the business part of it makes me sad and I don't like doing it. But I am trying. I'm trying to find like a balance. I have a friend who offered to help write descriptions for my stuff, which would be like a huge,
Oh.
like if I can like teamwork it a little bit so that
Hmm.
people can do the parts that they enjoy doing. Um, and then like I love selling stuff in the sense of when someone decides they want to buy it, I love getting it ready to go out. And I always like put a little something extra in there, which you bought stuff from me.
Oh yeah.
And I love that part of it. And I love it when they get it, the idea that they're gonna have this thing, hopefully for years to come, that they enjoy. And it's just that like the in-between process, the self-promotion and the listing it on the website. Those two things are really hard for me. And the self-promotion especially takes me back to like junior high. Like
Oh, okay.
because of social media.
Yeah.
If I had done this 15 years ago, I probably would have a pretty successful shop. But because the algorithms are now what they are and the shitification and all that, it's now you have to pay to play, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I can't afford to pay, so I'm not playing so well, you know.
Now, speaking of social platforms, do you think now we had talked about the fact that Clapper and TikTok have their advantages and some disadvantages. Do you think there is a platform that is the one you would recommend? I imagine this is going to go on YouTube. I don't know where this is going.
You-
Um,
YouTube and Spotify, and then it gets pushed out from Spotify to
oh
like
wow.
Apple Music and stuff like that.
Toasty
It's
tentacle here. Hashtag
eh,
toasty tentacle.
yeah.
What? Oh
Your
yeah.
info, yeah, I'll put yeah. Yeah, Toasty
No,
Tentacles info's in the
no,
bio.
that's fine. I don't want my 15 minutes to pass me on by because my silliness didn't self-promote
No,
like
it's
we were
all
just talking
I
about.
always make sure that's in the description.
No,
Plus
no,
I'm gonna link to our original one. back when.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Way back
I got to
when.
go find it, but I will
Yeah,
link to
no,
it.
it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I was so excited. I was like, I get to talk out loud to another person. Oh my God, I'm manic. Yeah. So, um, I don't know because so Threads is good for art,
Okay.
artists, crafty people. Um, but the rhythm is kind of weird, so you kind of have to figure out the rhythm there, and it's still figuring itself out.
Okay.
Um, Instagram is also has some really robust like communities for different types of crafting and stuff, as well as like clowns.
Hmm.
But it's not very engaged focused. You're not going to get a lot of like comments and stuff.
Yeah. They're just
So
lots of likes.
yeah, and then Twitter, you need to be really good at managing the algorithm like on TikTok in order to minimize access to the negativity there. But if there's like a really good writers community there, really good horror community there. Um, so there's, I think like I mean, even like Facebook, if you can find the right groups, because there's a lot of like really well moderated groups, I think you can find people no matter where you go. It's just figuring out which interface works best for your brain, right?
Right.
Um, and I'm kind of on all of them because self-promotion, but Twitter X is where
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Prince changed his name. It will always be known as Twitter. It doesn't matter.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. I
it's
don't, you call it X all
that's
you
where
want.
I get the most like human engagement there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it's
Fascinating.
just a small group of people, but they're all really nice, and I get the
Right.
most support on my content there as well. Like people actually repost it. Like people on TikTok will be like, yeah, 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 we're gonna repost your shit, and they never do. They never do. They lie. But and Twitter, I don't even ask, and people when I post like my podcast episodes or whatever, they will share it.
Oh, cool.
Um, so yeah, that's the place where kind of am the most balanced in terms of
Okay.
like seeing everything that I'm doing.
Hmm.
TikTok's very like niche, so I have that organized. And then Clapper, I was just doing the puppet stuff and a little bit of my shop stuff. And right now I'm taking a break from making content, so I've been posting about my health stuff just so people know what's going on.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's mostly like, and then Instagram is most of my clown stuff and a little bit of my shop stuff. So it's mostly all pretty fragmented. And then Facebook, I don't add, you're like one of the few people I've like added to my personal
Hmm.
Facebook in years. Because that's mostly for like more journaling
Oh, okay.
because my life sucks. So I need somewhere to get that part out.
It's one of the
And
four noble truths. Suffering
yeah,
is here.
yeah. And then so yeah, Twitter's kind of like the most balanced in that regards,
Okay.
because I'll
Okay.
post stuff about about my crafting, my shop. I post stuff about the podcast. I post about my doctor's appointments. I post about my OnlyFans. I post about like my cat. I post really dark memes, you know. So
Oh, OnlyFans, huh?
what?
What? What was that part? What was that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wasn't even going to bring up the little clown postcards, which I don't think we need to show. Uh, I was okay. So fun fact: my friend bought some book from Neil Gaiman
Okay.
and paid like $150 or some ridiculous amount for the deluxe author's special edition. And
Wow.
so this giant book comes with like 75 different postcards jammed into the book. And
Oh,
each one is a unique and original and it's something created. So I did the same thing to you. I ran across your clown pictures and I was like, "Oh, these are going into a book." And I put them in a book like a year ago and I completely forgot about them. And I'm flipping through looking at some old drawings and then get a little clown picture in there. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know if I can show any of these, but they're fantastic, and I would highly encourage anyone to. So,
I think you're the only one that has those actually.
oh, did you
Yeah.
sign them? I mean, I'm not saying they're ever going to hit eBay, but my grandson might want to go to college. I mean, not for nothing.
I don't think
Wow.
I think I put a note on one or something. I don't remember, but
Sorry, these photos just got a lot more interesting. I didn't realize they were one-offs.
yeah, because you hit me up for
Oh, that's right.
photos and you asked for something other than what I had on Etsy. And so I just went through and picked some and was like,
Yeah,
and
that
nobody else
if
has asked.
I I can show this one. This one's
Okay.
perfectly legit.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Look at that, so cute.
I love that one.
Ah, it's a very cute one. It's a
Yep.
very cute one.
Yeah.
I love it. I love the yeah, that one's not. No, it's fine. It's not it's not uh so so I have questions about OnlyFans.
Okay.
I have so many questions
I might
because
have answers, but I can't promise.
I was going to bring this up earlier because we were talking about marketing and business through TikTok. And what I have found is there is a funnel, and the funnel starts on TikTok. God help me. I clicked on the Chicago dance. Have you seen the Chicago? They both reach for the gun. They both reach for the gun. They both reach for. It's this number from
Oh,
Chicago. And I
yeah.
clicked on one. And let me tell you, every other video is somebody doing the Chicago dance. And I'm not mad about it. I'm not
Yeah.
mad about it.
Yeah.
So I click on the video because it's a trending video, and TikTok will tell you what's trending because they want you to do them.
Yeah.
So then you click on that and you're like, wow, she's really attractive. And then you go to her bio and you see a little pepper
Yep.
and then another name.
Yep.
But more common, you'll actually see Instagram because I think they'll let you live link Instagram through your TikTok account.
Yep.
So you click on Instagram, and Instagram has had some revolution in the past 10 years because it used to be a lot more um, non-Twitter, but I've seen some stuff on Instagram. I was just like, I
They
never
it
thought that
gets
would be on Instagram.
they're not catching it as quickly, but people still lose their accounts.
Oh,
So,
okay. Okay. I didn't
yeah.
realize because I've seen some stuff on there where I'm like, this is like old school Twitter. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing some stuff on here that's like,
I've seen some stuff on Twitter that I'm like,
sensitive to
I
damn.
have the adult the I have the filter, so I
Yeah.
don't like I don't want to see it. Like yeah.
So we go to Instagram, and then Instagram will have a spicy link that will take you directly to
Yeah,
OnlyFans. Now,
that's where mine is.
so
Yeah.
that is the blink, 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 blink. Okay, so now here we're at OnlyFans. Now, personal confession, I submitted my ID. They did not believe that I was who I say I was. So my very first video, and yes, I have recorded an OnlyFans. This is you wanted hot news. This is what it is. I found myself in Atlantic City. My guest had left a day early, and I
Huh?
had a hotel room to myself.
Oh,
And
that's
it was a
hotel. Yeah,
beautiful
hotel. Yeah.
shower, a
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
shower. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually introduced the video and said, "Hey, follower," so it was a very kind of aware of what's happening.
Yeah, yeah.
So I haven't gone through the process yet, but I have a lot of questions about OnlyFans.
You know what's interesting is a lot of my guy friends who have gone to make accounts have run into the verification problem.
They don't,
I
do
didn't
they?
have any problems and I didn't have to submit anything. I just kind of you know, submitted I set up my account, submitted my ID, and then 2 days later I was like posting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little different. I have to prove who I am. Um, first big question, and I'll ask again at the end. Um, are you happy you did it? You wish you hadn't done it. Is it better for you? Like, I know that we both make art of a uncensored nature, and I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
Is this the platform for you to deliver that content?
Well, I mean, there might be a better platform. I don't know. I don't have any regrets. I have some
Okay.
like disappointment. So for me, the reason why I started doing the OnlyFans is because I wanted a safe place to sort of explore and express myself in that way because I haven't really been able to do that in my life. I was single for the better part of 20 years without any kind of like anything, no flirting, nothing. So that means that I didn't get to develop in that way really at all. And I lived in usually studio apartments where I didn't have a room to myself because I was living with my son. And, I mean, it has like an effect when you're never like alone and whatever. Um, and then like the few relationships I had, I didn't really get to experience being appreciated or built up or
Okay.
like the first time somebody told me that I was hot or that I was sexy, literally the first time I ever heard those words directed to me was after I put the clown paint on. I was 46. I didn't know I could be hot or sexy. No one fucking told me, right? Like what the shit, man? So so, and I had just spent years in a relationship asking for the bare minimum of like flirting and foreplay and for me to not be the only one doing all the work and all of that. Like I just was like, can I have some fun? I would like to look forward to this. I want to do this. I'm in the middle of my 40s. I have hormones that are going, can we take advantage of it, please? And I wasn't getting it because I picked the wrong person. Like he's too reserved and too much stuff, and I didn't understand. So that was kind of my way of being like, I want to go have fun in a way where I don't feel like I have to answer to anybody else. I don't owe anybody else. I don't have to take care of anybody else's needs. I can just go do this thing and get some like engagement and maybe feel better in my skin for a while because I've never gotten to feel good in my skin. And, I'm only getting older. So that was kind of like the idea, right? It's just kind of like make it mine. And I at first I wasn't charging much because I didn't, self-value and I didn't understand how much work it was, So I was kind of like, well, if I'm getting engagement, it'll be worth it and I won't I just charge enough to make me feel safe. The paywall makes me feel safer.
Hmm.
Um and and then it was like I have people subscribed. Kind of had the same subscribers pretty much from the beginning, just a small group. Um, and I really, I don't know if they forgot they subscribed or, because they don't comment. So they don't like stuff. So I don't know, you
Oh.
know, every now and again I get needs more butt or or somebody will come in and like maybe they only log in once a month or something, right? Like so like I don't get any like feedback, so I don't know if things are good. Maybe they don't even see me. I have no idea, and that's where the disappointment is I wanted somebody to be like to see a photo and be like, that made my day. I really like that. Every now and again, I don't even need it all the time. Just every now and again, I want to know that what I'm doing is okay so that I have an idea of what to aim for because I don't really have any kinks, but if I did have one, I would say it's making other people happy. So if
Okay.
if I know like that something works for somebody else, I'm like, fuck yeah. And this is like the disadvantage of being like demisexual and asexual is that I can't like go out and like look at some saucy human and be like "Rrr," right. I don't fucking care. Like they're just flesh bags for me. Like the thing that's always worked for me is having a meaningful connection with somebody, but I have learned that if I know that I make somebody feel good, that also works for me. So I was like, cool, I can tap into that. I cannot because nobody engages, you know so I that part is like frustrating, but I'm like learning, I'm adapting and learning how to like sort of build my own sort of confidence within that. And then I have friends who occasionally like sign up for a couple of months or whatever, and they will engage. And then I have a creator friend that we just swap um free links for like a year
Hmm.
every year
Okay.
and we always engage with each other and that's great because that's a lot of fun and I feel really safe like um kind of we like flirt with each other and it feels safe to flirt with her. Like men are kind of
Okay.
scary to flirt with because they a
Hmm.
lot of times they take it seriously, so you know but it's like I'm kind of rambling, but I never get to talk about it. So I'm like, oh, I got to talk about it. Yeah.
I'll talk about it.
Nice
Talk about it. Get
try.
it out. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated.
OnlyFans, like,
Oh
so.
yeah, OnlyFans is amazing.
Um,
We're
but
all
it,
gonna be on OnlyFans
yeah.
someday.
But also the last couple months, I just haven't been feeling well. And so that's been, I feel bad because like I'm not personally engaged. And I was like, well, they're not engaging anyways. So I'm just going to keep posting content, but I'm not going to do the work because it is work. I ended up raising my prices because I'm not like, if you only, I have like 6 people or something, 7 people that are paying, right? So that's like $70 a month, which is a tank of gas plus some. And that I need that. I appreciate that. But like when you think about how much time is put into making the content, editing the photos, and posting content is boring. That part is like, you know,
Yeah.
so it's I feel like I'm not getting paid enough for that. But it is also something I never thought like that I would do because I very much defined myself based on the feedback I had gotten from partners, which thinking about it in retrospect is very contradictory because they would get mad at me because I wanted sex too much, but then they would tell me I wasn't sexual enough.
What?
So
How does that work?
yeah, and the only thing I can think is that they had these preconceived ideas about what female sexuality is supposed to look like. And because I don't
Okay.
conform, I'm rather androgynous. I don't like, I mean, it doesn't with my clown stuff, it doesn't show because the femme comes out with a clown a lot. But
Yeah.
in my day-to-day, I tend to be androgynous. My body language is, more on the masculine side. I don't demur when I communicate because I'm a fucking human being. And and I
Very
think
mindful, very
yeah.
demure. I love
And I,
Jules.
and those are like the demurring is something that actually makes men think that women are attracted to them. It's a very important body language that we've been like brainwashed for, right? And they don't even know that they did. So when women don't do that, it makes them abrasive, it makes them standoffish, even if technically we're not being any of those things. It's just a read. So I think like I wasn't conforming to their sort of preconceived ideas of what a sexual female should be.
Right.
Um, and then they benefited from it because I was like a mad scientist. So, you know, and I didn't. But
Wow. Just wow. I'm so happy for this journey because I've always been fascinated with the adult industry. I mean, for personal reasons and for scientific reasons, purely scientific. But I am fascinated. I think the closest thing I've ever been to a pornographer is that I took nude photos for someone. And I actually wound up buying them back because I was so proud that she posted them. It was like Pics for Sale or one of those websites.
yeah,
Um, but I was so nervous. Like I was so like I couldn't like my whole creative process was shut down because I'm just like boobies. And it
yeah,
was so and like now the second time I had that opportunity, I did 100% better. But for me, it was such a life adventure
yeah,
because you always see the finished product, and you never think about what happens the moment before the camera starts and the moment after the camera stops,
yeah.
and that I love. So I'm excited by this process. um
I
I've had
always,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I always, when I was younger, I always thought I'd be good at doing like sexual content, image, like photos and stuff because one, I'm good at photography,
Mm.
but also because I have no skin in it, right? And one of the things that's really important when you're doing photography is that um you don't put your perspective into it when you're doing that kind of photography. You can actually tell when you look at photos or whatever and the camera person is objectifying the
Okay.
the model, you can tell it changes the framing and it changes the vibe of the photo as a result. And when you have someone that's more professional and can do things where that's really just about the content that they're trying to capture. It's like, there's a big difference. And it's like if you're making content with somebody and you have like an intimate familiarity with them, then putting it from your perspective can add like a layer to it.
Okay.
And that's like a whole other thing. But like it's the act of objectifying is where it impacts the quality of the photo. Like, and it's like you have to be able to look at the model as like a person,
Right.
and there's some people, there is a lot of issues in the modeling industry with photographers who, they can't do that. And unfortunately, they don't treat models very well as a result, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much baggage. Like I don't consider myself someone that experiences like a lot of shame around sex. But the OnlyFans stuff has been kind of weird. Like I do
Okay.
it a little bit on the DL because I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. Like I don't post like if I when I do promote, I mainly just do it on Twitter because I don't have too many of my other friends on there.
Mm.
But I don't post anything too showing, one, because paywall makes me feel safe, but two, because there are a lot of people that follow me for other reasons, not just that. And I don't want to force them to think about me sexually if they don't want to, right? And I don't know
Wow.
where that where that line is. Like, and I've been thinking about that. I just made a post about it today, actually, on Facebook that like I feel like I've been hiding that part of myself,
Okay.
um, because I don't want to make other people uncomfortable. And I kind of am starting to feel like maybe that's not my problem.
I think you might be right.
Yeah, like there's definitely a line. I'm not gonna, all of the really like personal images are gonna stay behind the paywall. I have that as like a boundary for me. That keeps me happy.
Sure.
But, anything that sort of implies or whatever, if they don't want to see it, they can like unfollow me. And, you know, I'll- if they aren't comfortable with the fact that I'm expressing my sexuality in that way, they can unfollow me because, I'm choosing to do it in this way instead of like inviting someone into my life who's just going to probably ruin it.
Yeah.
So, you know,
No,
I,
no, you're absolutely right. Um,
it's to me, this like where I'm at in my life right now, this makes sense. And I feel like there's something that I can learn from it. And if I ever decide I want to be in a relationship later, I'll be better for it, you know?
yeah, that's wild. I was raised in a very conservative, fundamental Christian environment. So for me, I have two pieces of my life. I have everything outside of sex and then sex. So anything, any kind of intimacy, any has to go in this world. And this world was complete. I'm sorry, I'm doing a visual off camera. This world was completely separate from all of life. So now I'm almost 50 years old. I don't know that I have the emotional intelligence to even start thinking about a lot of intimacy. Like I've had relations, but I don't know that I've ever had a a conscious, mature engagement of an intimate nature. It always feels like I'm, some pubescent kid trying to steal a grope, and it's
Yeah. And when you say intimacy, you mean sex, right? You don't just
yes,
mean
I'm
because
sorry.
intimacy is so much more than
So
sex.
here's the problem. In my mind, intimacy is sex
Yeah,
because that's the way I was conditioned.
and
And
that's
and
true for
that's
most men in general,
it is.
unfortunately.
Any kind of intimacy is always going to like that's a great back rub. Oh, you're inside of me. It's
Yeah.
a very much and you're right. I was taught not to dance. I have trouble dancing with women because it's immediately in my mind, I was told if you dance, you're going to have sex. Dancing is the same as sex. You're going to think about sex. Thinking about sex is the same thing as having sex. It's it's disturbing.
Yeah, because I've never connected dancing to sex.
Oh my word.
Like they're
We
not
weren't allowed to dance at all
dancing
because
is
that's
just a thing you do. But also, I have learned that when I'm dancing, I like to dance alone and don't fucking touch me. So they're like, I feel like somebody's interfering with my right to express myself when they
Oh,
try to get
okay.
up and grind on me, right? Because
Yeah.
that's not what I'm doing. They're forcing their sexuality on me. And I'm like, there's a bathroom over there. Like, so it's just, yeah, I've definitely, I've made some people mad, because I'm like at a
No,
concert having a good time and they're like, they want to like doing the Beetlejuice dance up behind me. That's what I feel like they're doing. Like, and I'm
yep.
like, oh. And maybe I look
No,
sexy to them.
thank
I
you.
don't know. They never told me. I have no idea. But, something I was doing made them think about that. And I was like, how dare
But see,
you?
it's the mindset where I was taught that it's separate. Then you get to a point where you get in that modality and that's all you can think about, it's all you can understand, and you basically become just a walking dick and just trying to put your seed in the earth. And it's
It sounds frustrating.
it is it's very frustrating, and it colors a lot of the relationships I have. I have trouble having female friends that I can let go of the coupling.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Um, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a million miles away. It doesn't matter if they're not a good fit for my life. Every single woman I meet, the back of my head goes, marriage material? Hmm, partner? Every
Yeah.
and that limits me as a person because I'm not seeing people as people. I'm
Yeah.
seeing them as helpmeets or whatever archaic word you want to use from the Bible.
Yeah. Plus, you miss out on so much opportunity for like the other types of intimacy that have nothing to do with sex, right? I mean, it's one of the reasons why men are so isolated in general is
Yeah.
because they can't form intimate connections with men and women. um they could, because the intimacy means sex, so then it feels like very like no homo to like
Yeah.
have an intimate connection with a man, and they miss out on so much as a result, and it's unfortunate. It's definitely a thing that needs to change in our
Like right now, hearing you talk about intimacy, all I can think about is that is a prelude to sex. Like I
yeah,
can't like I don't like I want my brain wants to understand a pathway outside of I have to have sex with every woman I meet.
yeah,
Because that is very much the imperative that men are given. It's like you have the seed, put it in as many as you can and
yeah.
populate the earth. And um
Well,
I,
and I think sometimes that's why men don't um why they're so doggish about stuff until they get into a relationship, like a healthy relationship with a
mhm,
woman where they start to learn, where they have this mature connection. They start to see that woman as a person, and then it starts to change how they think about that. It's like you have to have the experience and then you have to practice within that experience to start to change your wiring, which of course some of the early wiring never really fully goes away, but it's like you have to have the opportunity to learn. And unfortunately, there's so many people with similar programming, women included, that it's like you just end up sort of reinforcing, you know?
yeah.
So it just sounds frustrating. I think that's one of the reasons why I never dated much, is because I didn't, my brain doesn't work the way that a lot of people does, and partially because of being asexual. I just the whole dating thing, just my brain's like, huh? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't look at people as potential bang meat or whatever. It's just like like I don't think about
Oh,
sex at all until
oh,
I get
now
to
I
know
will
them.
definitely think of the next person as bang meat. That's for sure. Be like, hey, what's up?
It goes
How
either
you
way. Like,
doing?
yeah, like like for me, it's like when I have a really good connection with someone, I start being like, it might not be that bad to wake up to that face, but it's like, but it doesn't
Aw.
in the beginning, that just doesn't, you know.
I wouldn't have to claw your eyes out every day.
Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
I might tolerate their morning breath, but
You- Well, it's funny because when I'm not slave to my sexual programming, my one criteria is the song Easy Like Sunday Morning. That's all I want in a relationship. I was married. I was married for a long time. I love her to death. We're friends. but we are not lovers. We are not lovers. That it took us a lot of loving to realize we were not lovers. And all I want in the next relationship is just easy like Sunday morning. I just want a casual brunch. I don't want a whole lot of quote unquote maintenance to a relationship. I don't want someone that I want to tie myself to someone who is as willing to explore and comfortable to be on their own. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm just happy being on my own for a while.
Yeah. Well, I think you have more luck finding that if if you're looking at women as your partnering option. I feel like, I probably if for me, like it's like I would want if I was going to be in a relationship, I want to be in a relationship with somebody that I can have emotionally intelligent conversations with, where I don't have to do the mental and emotional labor, where we can talk through things and where I don't have to reestablish my boundaries over and over and over and over and over again. Right. So I feel like I would probably have to be in a relationship with a woman. I just, you know, because of how people tend to be programmed by society. Men have pretty consistent issues. There are always exceptions, of course. I don't. If somebody fucking writes me says not all men. I'm I'm gonna be very irritated with you because duh, generalizations exist for a reason.
Men
And
are not monoliths, you know.
dude, I have
It's not a
feelings.
monolith.
Wait,
No, no, hold on.
let me see if I can do that.
Ooh, yeah. The key is you got to throw your chin
I
out
can't,
there. You got to do the underbite,
I,
and you
I
just
just I can't
you can do it.
I
No, it
can't.
hurts at first. It doesn't feel right.
Wait,
I laughed. I laughed the
what's the
first
first
15
part?
times I
What's the
did.
first part of the face?
You got to underbite, severe
Okay.
underbite. There you go. And then you close your mouth and you do a little kissing. D- This is painful to
It
watch.
is.
We need to work on your mewing phase. You are
I
not
kind
going
of.
to be Sigma anytime
It's gonna make
soon.
me pee my
Wait,
pants, honestly. Like
what? Yeah.
my
Oh, let me
blat,
tell you,
my bladder is like. "Ah!"
if you want some views, just mew. Just ooh. I'm telling you, I don't know what it is, but when society looks at a man, they want a jaw.
It's
Mm,
so weird.
oh
It's
yeah.
so weird.
Have you seen? I mean, it's funny because in the same breath, I'll say I don't understand why you would get chin surgery, but in the same breath, I would support someone getting gender affirming surgery. So if you look at chin surgery as a gender affirming surgery, then I have to intelligently remove all of my criticism and my
Yep.
critique because it's your body. I want people to do with their body. Like not to take a little step off, but whenever I need views, I just make a video about transgender debate, and I'll say, yeah, the boxer from Algeria should win this lawsuit against Elon Musk and who are they? Oh, J.K. Rowling, bless her heart, she went after J.K. and Elon because they both said, oh, you got to be a man if you're doing that well, and it's like we look at transgenderism like this is the end of society. And I believe it's the first chapter in a very large book of society. When you
Agreed.
look at technology, when you look at implantable insulin pumps, when you look at the motorized prosthetics, when you look at Neuralink, for God's sakes, the neural lace that Musk is working on, we are trying to become cyborgs. We are trying to augment our bodies.
Hmm.
So much of medicine is saying, okay, well, Toasty is here because, he's got health issues. We want to bring him back to normal human being. I'm saying don't stop there. Take
Hmm.
me beyond normal human being. Don't give me corrective glasses. Give me x-ray vision.
Right.
That's what I think. And where did I go with that? I don't know. I was getting on something.
Yeah,
But
you were talking about
that's
the chin and the yeah. No,
oh yeah, so the
I told
chin is like I
I
I'm
haven't
I'm all
personally
for that.
seen the surgeries for that, but I'm like So here's where the line is, right? When, for gender affirming surgeries and stuff, that's usually often like a lifelong thing where a person feels like they're in the wrong body. There are all kinds of like body image issues that people will have for a really long time. And, you can get surgery to correct for like breast enhancement or reduction or whatever. And those are things that help people feel better in their bodies. And absolutely, when it's like it's because of a fad. If people
Yeah.
want to do it, they absolutely can, but I think it's more of a problem because there's a higher probability that eventually when that stops being popular, they're going to regret it. It's like people who got their pubic hair removed, like laser removed back in the day. A lot of
Oh
those
yeah.
people are reported that they now regret it because the hair has come back, and plus as you age things look different, and there's a whole thing. And then there's like my eyebrows. I haven't plucked my eyebrows since I don't know, I was like 20, right? But this was my eyebrows. Everybody said my eyebrows were perfect back in the day, and now people are like, you to leave your eyebrows alone. Like, bitch, I haven't touched my eyebrows. They just that's
Oh,
so.
I'll give you some of mine. Mine still grow
I
like an old man. I'm an
did.
old man.
I occasionally get those old ones. I didn't know that women got those too, and I was just like,
Oh,
I get grandpa brows, what? And they're
I
super long and curly.
it's incredible. You just wake up one day and there's just this giant eyebrow
Yeah.
lash that's just, and you're like, where did you come from? Did you grow overnight? Hair
And it's
follicles shouldn't do
why
that.
can't they just grow out like whiskers so I can use them to walk around in the dark? Like,
Okay, okay, fun story. When my girls were little, I have two lovely daughters. My oldest, oh bless her heart, she was a lot of ambition, not too much forethought. Uh, I come home one day and I pick up our cat. I love my cat. It was my come home, hug a cat moment. Cat jumps up in my lap. I start giving him some loving. I'm like, why do you have a 5 o'clock shadow? He had no whiskers. My daughter decided that she didn't like the look of whiskers, so she trimmed off his whiskers.
oh,
This
poor
poor
guy.
cat ran into everything for about a week until they grew
Yeah,
back. Oh, bless
yeah,
his heart. I
poor
can't believe,
guy.
I know you can't feel the whiskers, but he was hurting without this poor
Yeah.
whiskers. Poor Garfield.
It's like the weird things that kids think to do that just
Oh,
like, you
Lord.
know,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a thing. It's a real thing. Oh my
Mm.
goodness.
I'm gonna
Oh my goodness.
pause because I need to pee.
Yes.
I'll be back. I'm gonna. All right, I feel better now.
Ah.
Sweet, I've been like, it's been like an hour. I was just like, maybe I can hold out. No.
It's important to take a bio break. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's important to take a bio break.
Yeah. So, what was it that you wanted to promote?
Oh, yes. Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the Tiki Talkie. We do trivia, free trivia. There are no prizes, but bragging rights. That's fun. I mean, that's fun.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
we
don't,
right
I
now we
don't.
got about 10 people that play. We go for about an hour and a half. It's usually about what people do.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating because we live in an information age and I'm asking questions. So the thought is, how can you prevent someone playing online from cheating?
Right.
So I have a couple moderators that one of them is very, very itchy band finger, very itchy band finger. And if she sees you leaving after every question and coming back, goodbye. Now, I am from the idea that eventually we are going to have implants that allow us to access the internet or, a library of information. So
Yeah.
what do you do in that circumstance? So what I do is I ask a question, everybody answers. I encourage people to answer even if they see the right answer up there or any answer up there. And then we give a time point and then we give a random point. So I have a bunch of my D&D dice. We roll depending on how many people, answer the question.
Yeah.
And we give out a bonus point. And that seems to work for people. It
Yeah.
gives them But I made a friend of mine real mad because I thought he was cheating. He looked like he was cheating. He acted like he was cheating. He knew stuff nobody else knew. And the problem is that you ever heard the phrase, don't ever be the smartest person in the room?
Right.
Because people will kill you and eat you. Like
Yeah.
that's what it is. And nobody, you can't have that kind of disparity in ability.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I had a friend, ex-boyfriend that would get banned from Counter-Strike servers because they thought he was cheating. He was
oh
just that
wow.
good. Like, you know, and it was so frustrating for him because he's like not cheating. And it's actually pretty easy to tell when somebody's cheating or not,
Yeah.
but he was just that good that they were just like, what the hell? You have to be cheating, you know?
Well, it's kind of like there's an old saying that advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic,
Right.
meaning that if you saw something advanced enough, it would just blow your mind. And that I
Yeah.
think is with trivia, for you to run into one of these Jeopardy nerds blows most people's minds. And the
Hmm.
only thing they can come up with is not this person is a book nerd, doesn't do anything else in their life, spends all day on Wikipedia. They can't deal with that. They must be
Yeah.
cheating. They have to
Yeah.
be cheating, you know. So I think that's where the breakdown comes. I have had fist fight because not only do I do the trivia online, I actually am a trivia host in real IRL, and I've actually had people threaten to fight each other because they thought they were cheating. Uh, but thank God for the pandemic because we were a paper game before the pandemic, and that's all gone now because I don't need you to touch a piece of paper and then hand it to me 20 times a night.
Right.
And so now I just have them play through their cell phone. So if they're cheating, I guess you're
You can't tell.
cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, do
Yeah.
your thing. If
There's
I
like,
can't catch you.
yeah. Someday when we do have the tech and we're all going to be like plugged in, we probably will have the option to be able to turn off access to
Yeah.
things. And so you can be like, okay, we're going to play the game. Everybody turn off the access to things and maybe there'll be a way to check or not, or I don't know. I mean, integrity is, my integrity is really important to me. So like, I always tell the truth. That's just like, but I know that some people at like winning feels better than but it's got to not feel good at some level, like still, even though
Oh,
they're
it
because,
feels dirty. I've had people cheat over the years doing trivia. I've had people straight up cheat and they feel dirty. They feel dirty and a lot of them won't even claim the prize. They'll win and then they'll just disappear,
yeah,
which I thought was
it's
interesting because it
interesting.
kind of worked itself out. Yeah, they
Yeah.
won, but they didn't want the prize. They're like, give it to somebody else. I'm like, and I've had legit winners do that as well, just as a um but yeah, I figure that there's got to be a way for us to agree, like as you said, let's all turn our interfaces off. Um, a friend of mine has a kind of game where you have to play it on a mobile device, and he actually creates a local area network in the bar. He has his own hotspot, and you're connecting directly to his internet or the little I don't really understand it, but you're connecting to his network
Yeah.
and you're not connected to the outside world. You're in fact he can tell if you go off of his network.
Yeah.
And so it's still trying technology to outsmart technology,
Hmm.
but I assure you that technology will then outsmart that technology. So
Yeah.
it's always going to be, it's the whole hardware software,
Yeah. Yep.
so.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea though. I wouldn't have thought of that to do the local area network as a way to like keep people from going on the internet. But that's
Oh,
a
it's
yeah.
wild, and people bring out iPads and and to make it fast, you don't type in the whole answer. You type in the first letter of the answer, and and it's wild, because if the answer is Pascal, you hit the P. If it's the Wizard of Oz, you skip the T and go for the W,
Yeah.
and it works.
Huh.
And I I don't know that it has the same buy-in as the older games that are a lot more cheating prone, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Um, but my Monday night, they love it. They don't care about cheating. They're not nerds. they're just there for a good time. They're there for the Naval Academy. They're there to visit family, and
Yeah.
trivia gives them something to discuss that's not politics. So,
Yeah. I'm not good at trivia, so it stresses me out because if you ask me a question and it's like random knowledge question, even if it's something I know, my brain blanks and I need time to relax around it and then the information comes to me. So in that situation where it's like high demand, I the answer will come to me a couple hours later. And so like I've literally done gone to trivia nights and I knew answers to most of them. I knew the answers, but I couldn't access that information. It's just my brain has always been that way. You ask me what my favorite whatever is, and my brain goes, I know the names of 30 different bands. I don't know which one I like. You know, it's
what day
just
is it? I don't know how I feel
yeah.
today.
And I've just learned to accept that this is just where I do not excel. And so people
Yeah.
that can do information recall, it's fascinating to me. Apparently it's a very neurodivergent like ADHD thing to have that because I'm really bad with names too. So
Yeah.
it just
I am horrible with names. I'm great with faces. I'm terrible with names.
yeah,
And a couple people have tried to get me past the name thing. They're like, use the name as soon as you learn it.
doesn't work.
Um, Try to tie it into something you notice about the person.
Doesn't
Uh,
work.
Other than that, it's just, how do you
It
spell your
just
name again? You know,
yeah.
how do you
No,
pronounce your name?
I just tell
John.
people like I'm just like, you know what? I do not hold names very well. Once I've used it
Hmm.
enough times, it'll stick. But
Right.
it just takes me, and I'm just really honest about it. I've never had anybody be offended by it. So I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. Your name has too many letters. It rocks my world every time I think about it. I'm just like, can't we accomplish this with three letters? I understand you have five, but can't we accomplish it
Yeah.
with three?
You mean
Maybe like an
can
LI.
we accomplish it with my initials?
I,
LEE?
I mean,
Those are
yes,
literally my initials.
that's awesome.
And I changed my name and I didn't know that because I don't use my middle
Oh,
initial.
that's
So I never
funny.
noticed. And then I had a job where there was somebody else there whose initial was LE. So they differentiated and they were like, well, what's your middle name? And then it was LEE. And like, and they're like, so your initials are your name? And I was like, oh my God.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That is too perfect.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
funny.
funny. I clearly I was right when I changed my name.
I mean, clearly,
Yeah.
you got it.
So you said because we're jumping around on topics and that's I have two thoughts. So the first one I wanted to know what you're making OnlyFans for.
So
I
I
said
always
that sounds kind of judgmental when I
no,
said it, but I
no.
like the intonation, but I just kind of
What are
maybe a
you
little sass. And
saying? Are you
what do
saying
you
you're not
what
going
do
to
you
be a member,
what do
Lee?
you
Is that what you're saying?
why? What?
What are
Oh
you
my
saying?
God.
Are you saying you're not curious about Toasty's tentacle? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying right
You
now?
hurt my gallbladder.
I can't even process that. What is that? I've had a lot of laughter in my life. Never once has it hurt in a specific organ. Just like, oh, right in the spleen. Ha ha. Like,
Well,
what?
to be fair, my gallbladder is apparently dying and it has been hurting
Oh,
me nonstop since November. So when I left and my diaphragm compressed, my gallbladder went.
I'm
So
killing it. I'm killing
yeah,
it. Ah, I'm
that is
dying
the
today.
first time I've had an organ hurt when I was well, I actually have had my stomach hurt from laughing. So yeah,
Folks, you
but
see it here first. A lot of firsts happening on this podcast
I'm
episode. Woo
I'm
woo.
I'm the gallbladder
I am the gallbladder.
damager.
Do you remember the last episode the gallbladder attended? That was good. Uh, so why do I want to OnlyFans? Because everybody wants a piece of the toast. No, so Toasty has been on a journey of discovery for some time. Toasty spent a lot of time spending talking about himself in the third person.
Thank you for listening. Join me next week for the continuation of this conversation. Want to support my creative chaos and get access to exclusive content? Check out my Patreon. Have a great week.